Okay, let's dive right in. The way American data is handled, well, it just changed, big time. A brand new set of US data security rules is now officially in effect. And believe me, if your organization touches this data in any way, you absolutely need to know what's coming next. So let's break it all down.
Right. As of today, October 6, 2025, the grace period has officially ended. The time for businesses to get their houses in order for this new era of data security, it's over. Enforcement starts now. So, what's the bottom line here? It's this. The Department of Justice's data security program is no longer just a set of suggestions or best practices. It is now the law. And from this moment forward, companies have to be able to prove they have a formal, written plan to comply with it. Now, at the very heart of this huge shift is something called the Data Security Program, or DSP. You can think of it as the engine driving all of this. It was created by a presidential executive order, and it has a really specific mission: to slam the brakes on bulk transfers of sensitive American data to countries that are considered a national security risk.
And, that really gets to the core of it all. This isn't just another regulation about protecting your privacy when you're browsing online. This is about completely reframing data security as a critical, non-negotiable part of our national defense.
What's so crucial to understand is the government's specific aim here. This isn't some blanket ban on all data sharing. No, you can think of it more like a surgical strike. It's designed to stop massive amounts of our most sensitive, personal information from ending up in the hands of specific foreign adversaries.
So, of course, the big question is, which countries are we actually talking about here? Well, the government is being very specific about this. Here's the list. The DOJ has named these 6 nations as the countries of concern. And when you look at this list, it becomes crystal clear, right? These new rules aren't just about tech policy. They are a direct extension of U.S. foreign policy and national security strategy. And look, this didn't just happen overnight. This was a very deliberate process. It all started with that executive order back in early 2024. Then came the final DOJ rule in April 2025, which gave businesses a few months to prepare for today's deadline. The rollout was methodical for a reason.
Okay, so we've covered the why in the who. Now let's get into the how, because the rule itself isn't a simple on or off switch. Instead, it creates 2 very different levels of restriction.
But hang on. Before we get to those 2 tiers, we have to define what kind of data we're even talking about. The rule calls it covered data. So what in the world does that actually mean?
Yeah, the term covered data is incredibly broad. Think way beyond just your name and social security number. We're talking about the results from your 23andMe kit, the location data from your fitness tracker, your entire credit card history, your phone's precise location, even your fingerprint. And get this, even if data is anonymized, it's still covered if there's any possible way to trace it back to an individual.
So, how is all this covered data handled? Well, the rules create this 2-track system. First, you have prohibited transactions. This is a full stop, a hard no. Certain bulk data transfers to those countries of concern are completely banned. No licenses, no exceptions. Then you've got restricted transactions. These are allowed, but only if a company can meet some incredibly strict security, auditing, and reporting standards set by the DOJ.
Okay, so with enforcement officially kicking off today, the focus shifts entirely to compliance. This isn't a drill anymore. Organizations now have to have concrete documented programs ready to go to prove they are following these new rules. So what does compliance actually look like in the real world? Well, it pretty much breaks down into 5 key actions. 1. You've got to map your data. You have to know where it is and where it's going. 2. Vet your vendors. Who are your international partners? What are their security practices like? 3. Update all your contracts to include these new data handling rules. 4. You need to establish clear internal governance for reporting and oversight. And 5. Train your people. Every single employee needs to understand what a restricted transaction looks like so you can prevent accidental violations. And let's be clear, the stakes for getting this wrong are incredibly high. Yeah, sure, there are potential civil and criminal penalties, but honestly, the bigger consequence is a massive loss of trust and reputation, which in the long run can be way more damaging to a business.
So let's just zoom out for a second, because this is so much bigger than just another piece of bureaucratic red tape. This regulation signals a really profound shift in how the United States government sees the role of data in our modern world.
What we are literally witnessing is the official merger of 2 worlds that for a long time were pretty separate: data privacy
and national security. Protecting your personal data is no longer just a consumer rights issue. It's now being treated as a matter of national defense.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the spirit of this whole change. This is a call for a fundamental shift in mindset. It's not about just checking a compliance box. It's about completely redefining what it means to be a responsible guardian of data in an age where our digital and geopolitical borders are blurring every single day.
And that really brings us to a final, pretty critical question. As data becomes the absolute lifeblood of our economy and our security, is protecting it just a matter of legal compliance anymore? Or is it actually becoming something more, maybe even a kind of patriotic duty for the well-being of the nation? It's something to think about.